Today, we're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping visions in the entire Bible. We're taking a tour, but it's not of some beautiful ancient landmark. Nope. We're following the prophet Ezekiel on a supernatural tour of the sins hidden deep inside the walls of God's own temple. I mean, just think about that for a second. What if you had the power to see what was really going on in the places that are supposed to be the most holy? Well, that's exactly the power God gives to Ezekiel. And trust me, what he finds is absolutely stunning. So let's set the scene. We're in verse 1 of chapter 8. Ezekiel isn't even in Jerusalem. He's in exile, hundreds of miles away in Babylon. He's just sitting in his house with the elders of Judah, probably talking about how things have gone so wrong when this vision kicks off. He's about to get heaven's perspective on the situation. And here's something that's just incredible. The Bible is super specific here. Verse 1 tells us this happened in the 6th year of the 6th month on the 5th day of the month. People have done the math, and that pinpoints this vision to a specific day, September 17th, 592 BC. This isn't some vague, once-upon-a-time story. This is an event anchored in real history.
Right there, as he's sitting with the elders, the text says, "The hand of the Lord God fell there upon me." Now, whenever you see that phrase, you know something big is about to happen. It's the signal for a powerful, supernatural experience. Ezekiel is about to be taken on a journey he will never forget.
So how does he get to Jerusalem? Well, verse 3 is really clear. He's not physically beamed across the desert. It says the Spirit lifted him up in the visions of God. He is spiritually transported, like an out-of-body experience, straight to the heart of it all, the temple in Jerusalem. And his tour begins at the northern gate. All right, first stop on this vision tour. And the very first thing Ezekiel sees is an abomination. Something is terribly, terribly wrong right at the front door. So, in verses 3 and 5, he sees it. Standing there at the gate of the altar is what the Bible calls the seat of the image of jealousy. Think about the placement. It's a deliberate act of defiance. It's like putting up a rival statue right at the entrance to God's own house. So what exactly is this image of jealousy? Well, it's not just about breaking a commandment. This is deeply personal. It's an act of spiritual adultery. The sources compare it to an unfaithful spouse bringing their lover into the marital home. It's an act designed to provoke, to show just how unfaithful the heart has become. And just when you think it can't get any worse, God says to Ezekiel, this is just the beginning. This line from verse 6 becomes a chilling refrain throughout the vision. It's God saying, you think that's bad? Stick with me. We're about to go deeper into the darkness. Okay, so the vision now moves from that public display of defiance at the gate to a place of secrecy. Ezekiel's about to find out what's happening behind closed doors, where they think no one is watching. I love how this plays out in verses 7 through 9. God doesn't just show Ezekiel the secret. He makes him participate in discovering it. First, he sees a hole in a wall. Then, God tells him to start digging. As he digs, he finds a hidden door. With every step, you can just feel the dread building. What is he about to find in there? And what he finds is horrifying. Verse 10 tells us the walls of this secret room were covered from top to bottom with carved images of reptiles and detestable animals. Pagan gods, most likely, borrowed from places like Egypt. This is a complete defilement of a sacred place. So who's in there, worshiping these disgusting images? Well, verse 11 gives us the shocking answer. 70 elders of Israel. Now, this isn't just a handful of rebels. The number 70 is hugely significant. It represents the entire ruling council of the nation. The corruption goes all the way to the top. Verse 11 even gives us more details. We see 70 of the ancients, the respected leaders. One is even named, Jazaniah. And they aren't just hanging out. Each one is actively participating, holding a censer, filling the room with a thick cloud of incense to these false gods. The very people who were supposed to lead Israel to holiness were leading them into secret abomination. So why? Why were they doing this? Verse 12 gives us their excuse, and it is bone-chilling. They're saying to themselves, the Lord doesn't see us. The Lord has abandoned the earth. That's the core of it. They actually believed God had checked out, that he wasn't paying attention anymore, so they were free to do whatever they wanted in secret. Now, a really good question probably pops into your head right about now. Was Ezekiel seeing something that was literally happening brick for brick in Jerusalem? Or is this whole thing just one big, powerful metaphor for spiritual decay? Well, the best way to understand it is it's both. The vision was exposing the actual secret idolatry that was a real historical problem in Jerusalem. But it's also packed with symbolism. The act of digging through a wall, that's a perfect picture of how sin had burrowed its way deep into the heart of the nation. The 70 elders represent a total betrayal from the top down. So the vision uses a literal reality to make a powerful symbolic point. You can build walls, but nothing is hidden from God. So after God reveals this secret chamber of horrors, he makes it very clear that this terrifying tour is far from over. And there's that line again, this time from verse 13. God tells Ezekiel to turn around because he's about to see greater abominations. The corruption, unbelievably, goes even deeper. Now, the tour in the Bible continues, but we're going to pause our explainer here and just reflect on what we've seen so far.
You know, the main message of this first part of the vision is impossible to miss. All those walls, the hidden doors, the secret chambers, they create this illusion of safety, right? But what this vision screams is that secrecy is no shield from God. What is done in the dark will, one way or another, be dragged into the light. And that just leaves us with this final kind of provocative thought. If the temple in Jerusalem, the most sacred spot on earth for them, could be hiding this much corruption, it really makes you ask, where does true holiness actually live? This vision forces us to look past the stone walls and shiny exteriors and think about the true condition of the heart.